Want to stop juggling spreadsheets, calendars, and a dozen apps just to run your rentals? Lodgify makes it easy. It's an all-in-one toolkit for hosts. Build a direct booking website, automate guest messaging, and keep all your channels in sync. Running your rental business your way has never been simpler. And for Good Morning Hospitality listeners, you can get 20% off any yearly plan with code GMH20. Just check the link in the show notes to get started today.
Welcome to Good Morning Hospitality, your one-stop shop for the latest news, noteworthy trends, and thought-provoking discussions across the industry. From hotels and short-term rentals to all things travel and hospitality, you'll find each episode equips you with the information that you need to start your week. Join us on Good Morning Hospitality every Monday, wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, Good Morning Hospitality listeners. We are back with incredible offers from Sojo and TravelNet Solutions just for you.
Sojo's making amenity management a breeze. Connect your reservation calendar, choose from their eco-friendly amenity catalog, and leave the rest to them.
Assembly, organization, delivery, all on autopilot. And exclusively for you, our listeners, enjoy a 30-day free trial of Sojo's game-changing service.
As for TravelNet Solutions, they are revolutionizing property management with their Hospitality Hub. It's a complete integrated solution for modern hospitality needs.
Dive into this powerful platform and see how it can transform your operations.
Exclusive access for our listeners at goodmorninghospitality.com/partners, or you can just grab the link in our show notes.
Stay on top of your hospitality game with these unbeatable offers from our partners.
And now, back to the episode. Producer mess up. Forgot to bring us on screen. Good morning.
Good morning.
How many years have we been doing this, Will?
Hey, you know, the perks of having a little bit of grace on a Monday. The brain's trying to turn back on from a weekend of unplugged. So, good morning.
We're all just doing our best.
Happy Monday,
We're
best day of the week.
You got it, Michael.
Let's go.
Double hitter right there. That's right.
Double hitter. Now we just need Jamie Lane, who will be on next week, to tell us that we're going to be screaming for the data, because that's one of my favorite ones. And then, of course, maybe a Brandy rant today, or maybe next week. We'll see.
We'll see.
Are we going to get one today? Probably not. Not with today's topics.
No.
I don't think so. But earlier in the year, we talked about our predictions, as a lot of people do at the start of the year. Today, we're going to recap and see how good, bad, or ugly we are at predicting. And then next month, we will do another prediction show for the 2024 year. So stay tuned, but we will play back some of the clips from an earlier episode and then rehash them as a group and see if the others think we got it partial credit, or total whiff.
Yeah. To give a little bit more context, this was a roundtable prediction group with a bunch of creators within the Hospitality FM podcast network. And of course, our one and only Steve Turk from our hotel crew was on. We had Mike Sjogren, Natalie Palmer. So there are going to maybe be some new faces on these clips for you guys. In the show notes, if you are watching the live, make sure you go backwards, go to goodmorninghospitality.com and type in Influencer Roundtable. You can find the episode there, but you're going to see some new faces, and I'll put the link in the show notes so you can all listen to every prediction. But Brandy, you're on the hot seat first. Let's see if your crystal ball is warmed up or not. I think it's going to be a hard one. All right, here we go.
But I think the prediction is that despite kind of the growing economic uncertainty, that travel demand will continue to grow, albeit maybe a little bit slower. Right, I saw this report from the Davos summit that there's all these, the 10 most concerning things that are happening right now. And then the article mentions that it doesn't seem like travelers are paying attention or that they care about that at all. And I think that is true. I think people are still really intent on traveling and want, after being cooped up for so long. And one of the things that we're seeing are shorter booking windows. I'm speaking specifically for our urban markets. We're still seeing, that 14 to 21 days. So people still might feel a little cautious, wanting to wait maybe until the last minute or close to it to make a travel purchase in case something happens. But we're still seeing that people, strong demand, if albeit nothing like we saw kind of in the pandemic, where we saw this tremendous growth in the VR, STR industries. But warm weather places, luckily like the ones we're in, I think will still continue to attract people. And then European travel is still very popular, although the prices are surging. The euro dollar parity is still relatively, in our not necessarily totally in our favor, but it's cheaper than it has been. And the only asterisk I would give to that is that there are upcoming sanctions that are being imposed in February, which could cause spikes in energy costs. So even if the monetary comparison is favorable, the prices might be increasing, so that European vacation might not be as attractive. But then on the other side of the world, you have some Asian countries that are fully opening for the first time in the end of the year. So there's that pent up demand. People really want to take those vacations. And it was interesting because across all of the reports that I was reading, there were like two sides to this. People were either seeing, that there was going to be a dramatic drop off, or saying a huge surge. So it'll be very interesting to see, what happens. I think, like anything, it's probably somewhere in the middle. And because international travel demand might be increasing compared to the last couple of years, but those kind of trips are not available to everyone. So people who might be on a tighter budget or just don't want to spend that much for whatever reason, I think US domestic demand will still continue to grow. AirDNA had a great report that was like 5.5%, I think, in the coming year, which, it's nothing wild, but it's still, consistent growth. So I think that will be really interesting to see. And then the huge impact of the return of Chinese travelers who are finally allowed to kind of leave the country, huge spending capabilities there. So it'll be interesting to see where they choose to spend those dollars, or, who gets to benefit from those travelers reentering the market.
Okay. So not a total miss. I think Michael might disagree, but I'm going to state my case for what I think I got right and what I think I missed on, and you guys can jump in. So we did see travel demand increase, but very slightly. And what I did not account for was the huge growth in supply. So I think that that's kind of where I missed there. Like, there was some growth domestically, but we did see that huge surge in European travel and international travel. So, congrats to all of our European operators who benefited from like everyone I know on Instagram going to Positano. That's great. And what I thought was interesting, and when I was kind of researching to see where I missed the mark, maybe, was the cost increases, because these energy sanctions in February, it was like all over the news. All the articles I went back though stopped in February about like the impact on costs. And I go back and realize that it's because obviously the various European countries are using the reserves to kind of stabilize those costs. And so the couple of articles I saw were like predicting a little bit of kind of uncertainty in the European costs for the next year, but we'll see. I mean, I think stability is very important. So don't know.
I know the US and Britain are in an election year next year, so unlikely that things are going to go haywire in an election year.
Yeah.
Typically, historically speaking. You absolutely nailed the European travel one. That's a good argument in the fact that that demand did grow in South Florida, but RevPAR did not grow.
Correct.
Yeah.
RevPAR did the opposite.
Technically speaking, I guess 3 for 3 there. 2 for 3, right?
Well, yeah.
2 for 3.
My third one was the Chinese travel demand, which kind of like snuck in there at the end, but I actually thought was going to be the biggest slam dunk of the three, because you just like, that's such huge buying power. And like, especially in the luxury industry, that like, even if that pressure valve was released a little bit, you thought you'd see some of that. And you didn't really, because a lot of that travel stayed at home. They were severely economically impacted. So it's much cheaper to stay, at home and take your vacations. The geopolitics, increased tensions. Like, there isn't a lot of desire to go to, the United States or to Europe. So they did see increased travel to Africa, other parts of Asia. Antarctica was listed, for like the 5 cruises that are there or whatever. But I don't think there was, especially in like the luxury market. One of the articles was saying that like, fitness and wellness and kind of like, I guess like domestic luxuries were like the priority and then travel, which makes sense, so didn't totally nail that one.
I will say
Right.
the big winners
Well
in
done.
all of this were, well done. Good for you. 2 out of 3, better
Thank
than
you.
probably Michael and I. But I will say the big winners in this whole prediction that you had were the airlines. Man, they killed it. Jamie Lane's gonna hate me saying this, but they nickeled and dimed everybody to the point of they're probably just rolling in dough right now on their way to the bank. So good job, airlines.
Is there some bias because of how much our tickets to Barcelona cost?
Maybe.
was
I'm
absurd.
only thinking about the $6,000 it took to get 3 people to Barcelona. No big deal. Anyways, that's a topic for another day. Michael, you're next. And how do you feel? What do you think your odds are going to be? Think you're 100?
I remember one of them. I don't know if I had more than one prediction, but I know I nailed at least one of them.
I think you had one.
Okay.
I think out of the whole group, out of the 8 people that presented predictions, we were all supposed to bring 2. You were the one that brought 1, and then we had some people bring 3. So,
Hey, when
the average was 2.
when you're confident you're going to hit a home run, just step up to the plate, right?
There you go. All right. Well, let's tune in for Michael's clip, and for all of our live viewers, put us in the comments. 1, where are you coming in from? Where are you listening to, or where are you listening from? And then also put your vote in. Do you think Michael's hitting his home run, or do you think he's going to maybe slide into first base? We'll find out.
Wow. Not quite that many. There's
30.
165 flags under the major brands. Accor has 40, Marriott has 30, Wyndham has 26, Hyatt has 22, Hilton has 18, IHG has 17, and Choice has 12. 60 of these brands were added in 2019 alone. So all of these flags are really now trying to differentiate. And the proliferation of these brands is happening because you can't, when they sell a franchise, you can't have more Marriotts on the same block, on the same street. So they need a different chain, a different brand, a different feel, so they can own the whole block. And by them being able to add more flags and more brands, they can capture more market share in said markets. People want to stay with brands because they know it's predictable. They know what they're getting. They might identify better with Moxie than with, traditional Marriott or Holiday Inn. But at the end of the day, the bold prediction is there will be another hotel chain launching or acquiring a multifamily apartment brand this year, following Marriott's Apartments by Marriott. And it's a green pastures segment. There's some long-term stays, but no one's really diving in on the hotel brand going after Airbnb's, playground. So it's green pastures. These parent brands or flags can just spin off and start adding them, buying, one of y'all's companies, or creating their own, like Marriott has done with apartments. So I don't think it's that bold. I think it's almost certain to happen, but we'll see.
I'm going to ask you, when do you think, if it's almost certain to happen, when do you think, give us to save a little time, I'm just going to take off the rest of the clip. It was a lot of back and forth on timing, giving Michael a little bit more pressure on being a bit bolder on his prediction. But Brandy, actually, Michael, Brandy got to defend her case. Go ahead and defend
I was
hers.
actually curious what I said on timing, how long it would have taken, but it took 9 months and 29 days before Hyatt announced the launch of Homes and Hideaways. So poking around on Homes and Hideaways, doing a quick search of Miami, it resulted in 0 properties. There were some a little bit more north, like literally 4 properties in South Florida. So I would say this is very early days, but it has officially been launched. So I will check that box.
Yeah.
Pat myself on the back.
Great job, Michael.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I think this is a trend that only makes sense. We still don't have a brand that leads the way in vacation rentals, but sans Airbnb, in America, and booking an Airbnb in Europe, and Vrbo and destination markets. But aside from the OTAs, there's not a household name that anyone could recognize. That's where the hotels come into play with Hyatt, with Marriott. And, as an operator, Brandy would love an update on how Marriott's doing. We've seen some shade be thrown their way from a shade thrower, but curious your take there. And then any word from Hyatt and connecting with them.
Yeah. So with Marriott, I mean, for us, our personal story, they actually account for like a pretty decent chunk of bookings. I mean, nothing compared to our direct or booking or Airbnb, but like sizable, 5 to 7%, maybe a little bit more depending on the month. We do have like some friction when people don't.
Better than
Huh?
Hopper.
Oh my gosh, of
Better
course.
than
I knew
Hopper.
there had to be something in there. But then in terms of Hyatt, so I think, you're talking about how these different hotel brands aren't going to have like there aren't going to be a whole bunch of them on the same block or in the same neighborhood or things like that. And I think that Hyatt has very strict requirements for where a Hyatt can be in proximity to an operator that's on Homes and Hideaways. I don't want to quote the exact number, but I think, because I can't remember, but I think it was like in miles. And so if you're in Miami, I mean, that's just not going to happen. I mean, there's so many Hyatt brands. So I don't know if that's something that they are just like, all these platforms start off with, what they want to have happen to preserve maybe the exclusivity or the brand image or whatever. And then if the goal is traffic, they will have to bend and kind of shape what their expectations are. So we'll see. I mean, we'd love to get on there. What?
You gotta set the brand standard first and what people can expect, and then it's easier to loosen the brand than to tighten the brand in the future.
Correct.
So
for sure.
Yeah.
And if you're not a
Brandy,
bootstrap
you were saying this
startup,
last week. Go ahead, Michael.
Go ahead, Will.
Sorry, I think we have a lag. I didn't mean to talk over you, so my apologies. I was going to say, Brandy, though, you were saying this last week in the sense of, when people do book on Homes and Villas, though, they show up and they're like, oh, this isn't a Marriott. And it's like, yeah, we never advertised to be. But maybe to Michael's point earlier, there's no household name. But if you're booking on Bonvoy points, whether it's a home and villa or an actual Marriott hotel, people are having that kind of perception of this is the Marriott. So maybe Marriott is winning at that game compared to Vrbo, Hyatt, Homes and Hideaways, all these other brands, maybe taking a little bit of name share from an Airbnb, quote unquote.
It's important to know what you're booking. I remember in 2012 traveling in Europe on Booking's platform. I just assumed everything was a hotel, but Booking presents everything kind of mashed in one, or at least they did at the time. And I could not find where I was supposed to go, and it turned out I booked an apartment. So I had zero clue. If it's kind of a last minute booking and you're just trying to find a place to stay, like, people don't really pay that much attention. People pay a lot more attention if they're booking their family trip for 7 days. But if it's just one person popping in for 2 nights, like, whatever, as long as there's a bed and there's heat or air conditioning, that's fine. But I was going to say, like, some of these big platforms, Marriott, Hyatt, can slow play and really establish the brand much more so than a niche micro OTA that really just has to grab anything and everything they can because they're on the race against the clock. Whereas Marriott could kill Homes and Villas tomorrow and it not be that big of a blip on their radar. I don't know if that's true or not.
It'd be news,
but it's not a massive line item on their P&L.
Yep.
Yeah. It'd be news for us to cover on a Monday show, but probably to them and their users, it'd be like, all right, back to back to hotels we go. Pretty straightforward.
All right,
All right,
Will.
Will.
All right, well, sweet.
Last but
I
not
think we're
least,
lagging. So, yep. All right, yeah. My prediction. I had 2, as I was told, due to the homework, but I'm already gonna say I already know what my outcome was. So, give me a little grace on this clip. But for all of our listeners, again, if you have any thought, do I hit a home run? Do I slide into first, or do I go up to bat and swing, miss, and walk back to the bench?
But I will say I wrote down 3 predictions, being scared that everyone else is going to mention their prediction first. But there was one prediction that I am kind of putting out there, and I want to see everyone's faces on this to go into. It's going to be 2 of them, but the big one is going to be Vacasa. So obviously Vacasa, not to like dig at them, and I'm not trying to do that. It's more of a prediction of what they're going to do because they do get a lot of headline and spotlight news. So my prediction with Vacasa, they did this big layoff. They had gotten rid of a lot of employees. It was big news right before VRMA, I believe. And my prediction will be that they are going to let go of homes and properties without density or actual gaining revenue. And then they're actually going to start building rather than buying. So they let go of a lot of their acquisitions team. My prediction is that they're going to go into building kind of a condominium, apart hotel buildings, which is what they're known to be better at rather than single family homes. And in order to become profitable, they're also going to start looking, obviously, to build the bigger buildings, multifamily structures, but then they're going to become more of an OTA, trying to compete with Airbnb, and trying to be, of course, profitable. I think that's my big prediction for this year / going into next year, because obviously building buildings takes a lot of time and money. But I also think that they are just trying to focus, and not like Sonder, where they're trying to do a master lease model and do all these buildings. They're actually trying to build, own, because guess what? Owners can't fire them if they own the building. So that's kind of my big prediction for the year. And then my second one, going into what a lot of people have said on this panel today, would be around mobility hospitality. So I'm going to predict that things like the Sprinter vans and kind of a glamping RV mobile hospitality type inventory, glamping, is going to become very more popular, especially as the younger generation of travelers, whether there's a recession or not, they're renting, they're spending their money with experiences rather than anything else. So what better experience to do while you're young, dumb, and broke is to hop in a Sprinter van with someone, whether it's a significant other or a friend, and hit the road. And guess what? If you can't afford gas, then you can at least camp out and wait until you get your next paycheck in order to move on to the next spot. So I think that's going to be the next big thing for hospitality, such as like experiential hospitality.
So
All right.
you get to defend
What do you
yourself.
guys think? How'd I do? All right, defending myself. I will say personally, Vacasa was a big swing and a miss. I don't think we're seeing that happen. So my bold prediction was that they would mostly become an OTA and obviously build their own properties due to lack of being able to get fired. We haven't seen that. So, I'll take that L. I'll take that L for sure. And I think I kind of hit. I will debate that I kind of maybe have lost the second prediction a little due to companies like Cabana that are basically going out of business. Cabana, for anyone listening or tuning in, they're a kind of a Sprinter van company that you turn into a short-term rental. Basically, there's a bed, there's a shower, there's a kitchen, all the stuff. They're going out of business. They're looking for funding. If they can't find funding, they're pretty much SOL. I still think it's a popular category, but it's a very hard category to lead the charge in, as we're seeing with all these other things. So I will say I got maybe a quarter of my predictions right. That's my defense. I'm going to give myself a little. I will. Go ahead, Michael. Go ahead.
In terms of getting them right on what played out, yeah, you whiffed. But in terms of what should have happened, Vacasa should have listened to you, right? They have taken many a wrong turn through the years, not going after the big condo buildings or big developments. I mean, you have to have a good track record, and I guess the developers could look at what rate of return they have compared to the market, and it's not there, or talk to other homeowners of properties they manage, and their reputation's just rough. Like I may be an outlier here, but I was really rooting for Vacasa to come through and win and build that brand, that national brand, because without them doing it, it makes it a heck of a lot harder for anyone else to do it. So
100%.
anybody throwing shade at Vacasa is dumb. You're very short-sighted. But a lot of the criticisms are very fair. They don't manage properties well. They don't drive a whole lot of revenue. They churn homeowners left and right. So going after the buildings would have been the smart move. And they probably were going after them. They just were unable to get them. The other aspect, it's obvious that any van company was a massive bubble coming out of COVID. Like,
yeah,
flashing red lights.
100%.
This is a bubble that people are not going to always want to stay in a van.
I will try to debate, like, not. Okay,
hang on. Let me finish. That said, the outdoor segment is booming. So there are incredible properties, and we had the pleasure of speaking with Sam Shank on the show a while ago, but we also all spoke with him last week. And one of the biggest things for him was making sure your properties are differentiated. And the best way you can do that, the outdoor segment is fantastic at doing this. So shout out Ben Wolf with Onera as a great example of something that's kind of truly one of a kind that people are clamoring to get into and go stay at. So I won't mark that totally an X for you. You missed the car one, but you checked the box on the outdoor.
Yeah. My thinking was that the mobility side, like the vans and I'll also say we have seen a kind of a pickup in RV type, where like these are RV channels, OTAs are popping up kind of like left and right now. But not to kind of contradict everything, I was thinking that this type of kind of segment in the mobility, hospitality, experiential outdoor space would lead into the outdoor, like the domes and the glamping experiences, the Oneras out there. Thinking like that's such a cool experience. You hop in a van, you maybe have a 3-day trip, you stay overnight, and then you get to your destination and you spend however long. But that was my thought. Brandy, do you think any different on how I did?
No, I agree with both of your assessments kind of on this. Like, I think that you should have been right in some cases. And I also really agree that, we talk a lot on here about, Vacasa and Sonder, who are obviously just kind of like the most like public companies in our space. And it's very easy to criticize when you're not in the situation that they're in. I also agree with Michael. There's been like wrong turn after wrong turn. But yeah, I think that hoping for their demise does not serve our industry at all. So I hope when we do our predictions for 2024, that like
people listen. We're smart.
Yeah.
The public markets will listen to what we have to say and save our industry reputation. No, but I think, the outdoor stuff, I totally agree. Like that like vans, maybe not, but the whole outdoor movement. Yes. So, that's what happens. You took a risk being so specific, and sometimes those risks are rewarded, but you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So
Amen. Well, hey, I personally would love to grab a what do you call them? A group of those vans and put them in Colorado. I think that would be fun to run. That I think in itself, we have a beautiful state here. The more the longer I live in Colorado, the more I'm like, yeah, I really do like this is home now. And there's so many beautiful places. So, maybe we just move those Sprinter vans instead of going globally. We just start local. Let's just get those things back to profitability. Get to a good local, neighborhood brand, your neighborhood Spider-Man, and see what happens from there. But
your next business venture? Are you looking for a new opportunity?
Maybe. Yeah, recreation rentals expands into mobility. Let's just go there. Yeah, no, it's gonna be fun. What do you guys think? I want your opinion, and any, again, live viewers, feel free to tune in, but or chime in. But curious for predictions for 2024. Do we bring back the same group, or do we pick a new name, group, and face that maybe don't get to share their voices as often as we do. Should we explore out? What do you guys think?
I think it's great. I think we got a good, well-rounded mix of the hospitality. Maybe we just keep it in the hospitality network, the Good Morning Hospitality Network.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was fun
Yeah, the
seeing
Good
all of
Morning
those
Hospitality.
faces back again. It's such a interesting group of people, like all different kind of like nooks and crannies of the industry. And I think that, yeah, I think keeping it in the hospitality FM family could be nice. And then we can see our other, our brother and sister shows, see what their predictions did, how they all played out.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. I'm scared to have Jamie on for a predictions episode because he has so much data to back his predictions. That's where I'm like, next week when we
we'll have to
him
make him
for all the...
make a prediction without data.
Yeah.
No data.
a
prediction.
Just
blind
on your
guess.
feels. Just on your emotions. No.
Trust your
Jamie, I feel like it'd be
instead of
fun
screaming for data this week, we're screaming. Go ahead.
for no data. No, I was saying we should each lobby a prediction at him and just have him eviscerate it, shut it down. It'll just be so Jamie,
I've done
come with
that
all the
once.
Judge,
data.
the jury, and executioner.
I've done
Exactly.
that once. It didn't work out for me. I owe him my house. So
Yeah, don't bet
I
anything.
forgot about that.
whoops.
Learn that lesson real quick. Well, hey, this has been fun. I love recapping the year. It's so hard because we're so for the listeners and my point of view and perspective of the show, we're so in the current day topics, right? The trends, the current announcements, the things are about to announce, right? We're very in the moment show. So to sit back and actually go back and reflect on this and like watch this, it was kind of fun for me. It's like, oh, I kind of forget that we did this because it was so long ago. So I appreciate you guys, taking the opportunity to admit if you were wrong or right on this whole episode. It's a fun time.
Humbling
For sure. Well, to wrap it up, thank you to our sponsors, TravelNet, and of course, Sojo, the one and only, the ones that we couldn't have predicted to have joined our podcast and make everything so much fun and creative. And speaking of Sojo, actually, we got to hear from Andrew Linjosic last week, who was the winner of the Happy Hour giveaway, and it sounds like the Happy Hour team and the housekeeping crew are getting together and they're about to have their happy hour to kick off 2024. So congratulations again, Andrew, if you're listening. Yeah, glad that you guys are getting some much needed time to go off site and have a little bit of fun. And for the listeners out there, like and subscribe, go to our YouTube, sign up for our email list, leave us a review, all the things. Make sure your mom's listening to the podcast, your grandma, your grandpa, everybody. Just get everyone on the train. And we hope you have a great morning, great rest of the week. Don't forget our hotel crew goes live every Wednesday. And of course, like always, see you again next week.
Want to stop juggling spreadsheets, calendars, and a dozen apps just to run your rentals? Lodgify makes it easy. It's an all-in-one toolkit for hosts. Build a direct booking website, automate guest messaging, and keep all your channels in sync. Running your rental business your way has never been simpler. And for Good Morning Hospitality listeners, you can get 20% off any yearly plan with code GMH20. Just check the link in the show notes to get started today.